Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us again. In this segment, we're going to have a conversation with Rayne Guest. She's joining us here from ArrowClean to discuss healthcare-acquired infections and her patented device that produces TK60, among the most effective disinfectants in the world. And it's used by hospitals throughout the country. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Rayne. How are you?
I'm doing well this morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at ArrowClean.
Well, I am the founder and CEO of ArrowClean. Mm-hmm. So I actually started this company back in 2012 because I had worked previously with a company that had a similar technology, and it was bought and shelved by a large chemical company, which made me a little bit upset because I knew the benefits of it for the general public, and just went on a mission to find a new way to produce the technology, found one, and got it patented. Our device actually makes what your white blood cells make to fight germs.
Is that TK60? Is that a compound? Is it natural? Is it man-made?
Well, so TK60 stands for total kill in 60 seconds. And the active ingredient is actually hypochlorous acid, and that is what your white blood cells make to fight germs. And as a byproduct of making TK60, you actually get a substance called sodium hydroxide, which is a really powerful all-purpose cleaner and degreaser. So it's really this cool technology. It's this patented, computer system that we mount on a wall in the facility. All you have to do is add salt pellets to it, plug it in, hook it up to a water line, and it generates hundreds of gallons of these two products every day.
Is this process ongoing? Is it always producing as long as there's salt pellets in it, or does it stop for a time and then reactivate?
No, so that's a great question. So when the janitorial staff goes to fill up, mop buckets or spray bottles or auto scrubbers or whatever system they're going to use to apply the product, because they're liquid products that come out of the machine, the machine knows that they're taking product out of it. So it will kick back on and make enough product to fill up the holding tanks. And once those holding tanks are full, it goes into idle mode until they come and take more product out of it. So it's a very smart system.
What are some of the problems that you see in the disinfectant industry, and how is ArrowClean, other than, your device that we're talking about today, addressing some of those? Are there recommendations that you have specifically as a founder of such a company that you think should be addressed?
Oh, well, there's a lot of problems in the disinfection industry. It's a very archaic system. Right now there are literally almost 1 million products out in the market that the two products that come out of our device, TK60 and FC Plus, replace.
Wow. Right?
So basically, I know it's mind-blowing. We have all these chemical companies that have been around forever, right? And they want to sell you sanitizer and disinfectant and floor cleaner and marble cleaner and wood cleaner and carpet cleaner and, all these different products, right? Mm-hmm. Basically, these products, they all have an active ingredient in them that actually does the work, right? Most cleaners and detergents, the active ingredient is sodium hydroxide. And a lot of disinfectants, chlorine is the active ingredient, right? Mm-hmm. But the chemical companies, they add all these other chemicals to it for color and scent and bubbles. And when you do that, you have to add even more chemicals to it so that, the color will disperse evenly. And chemicals don't like to be around each other. They tend to fight, right? Yeah. So when you start adding all these chemicals together, pretty soon you get a slew of chemicals that almost do more harm than good. So what we do in our system, each product has one active ingredient. The composition of TK60 is 99.98% water and 0.02% hypochlorous acid, which again is what your white blood cells produce to fight pathogens. And then the other product, FC Plus, is over 99.9% water as well, with the active ingredient sodium hydroxide. So, the big problem right now is you have all these chemical companies out there. Those chemical companies have partnerships with janitorial companies and environmental services companies, which are the groups that go in and clean hospitals, for example. And they don't want to let anybody else in. So one of the huge problems we have is, we go to these hospitals and, The infection prevention specialist will be like, we want that in here. We want a product that is hypoallergenic, that kills germs really fast, that's made on site. But then you have the environmental services company that, will constantly cause problems and try to keep us from getting in there. So it's just this ongoing battle because, they want to protect their market share.
You mentioned working for a company that was bought and then scrapped by a major chemical company. It seems from what you're describing is that we're being sold perceived cleanliness and disinfecting as opposed to actual cleanliness and disinfecting?
That's a really good way to put it. Disinfectants will work if you use them properly, right? So there's a contact time that has to be adhered to. Most of them are 10 minutes, meaning you would have to let it sit on the surface for 10 minutes for it to work. People don't do that, right? Nobody does it. It's just kind of known in the industry where people are like, well, I don't have to do that. And chemical companies will actually tell their clients that, we say that, but it's really 10 seconds. So they lie to their customers all the time about it. And they don't tell their customers all the negative health effects, from these chemicals. Because these chemicals, when you look on the safety data sheets of them, like Lysol is one of the biggest offenders. I hate to say it. They have these commercials where they're spraying their kids and, they have all these programs for healthy schools. Well, Lysol contains 14 toxic air contaminants. And you're supposed to wear a Class B hazardous
that's hazmat gear.
Respiratory gear to even use it. I mean, so it's one of those things where it's kind of false advertising. Chemical companies aren't telling you the harm that their products do. And when it comes to cleaning and degreasing, a lot of those cleaners, if you were to pour like oil in the cleaners, you know how oil and water don't mix? Mm-hmm. If you were to pour the cleaners, this is one of the demos we do, in with their products, it separates just like it's water. So you have people out there mopping with all this stuff, and it's really just kind of smearing stuff around. It's really not picking it up. That's why you see dirty.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why you see dirty grout in all the bathrooms at restaurants and everywhere you go, right? It's not actually cleaning or picking anything up.
With COVID, monkeypox, the flu, all of these different variants of COVID, is your product a one-stop shop as far as disinfecting, as far as combating all of these viruses in one shot, or do we need a different chemical, a different method for each of these particular viruses?
Yeah, so great question again. There are different types of disinfectants, right? There's limited spectrum, there's broad spectrum, there's healthcare grade. And our product is a one-step healthcare grade product. So it's going to kill like all your gram-negative, gram-positive bacteria. It's going to kill your viruses. We've tested it against spores. We've tested it against black mold. So yes, that's one of the great things about it. In healthcare right now, you'll find that they use anywhere from 3 to 6 different products depending on what they're targeting. They might use something as a daily cleaner, but then if they know they have a C. diff patient, they'll use another product, and then they might have another product for TB. Our product is that one-stop shop. You use it, and it gets everything.
What is the name of your product, and where can our listeners go online and get a lot more information about your company?
So our device is the ArrowClean system. So actually our company is named ArrowClean. They can go to arrowclean.com and reach out to us through there. And then the products that our device produces are TK60 for total kill in 60 seconds and FC Plus for fully clean plus more. And one of our goals right now for the public is we are looking to partner with a big box store so that they can have our device and generate these solutions there, like maybe your grocery store or a Walgreens, so that the public can go every week and refill their spray bottles and have it for their home use. Because one of our goals is to get rid of plastic waste as well.
Well, I'm hoping that is a successful endeavor. I'm hoping also that you'll come back and give us another interview as things progress, and maybe you can tell us about some of these partnerships that are successful.
I'll tell you about the partnerships, and I'll tell you about the pushback.
Great. Want to hear all of it. Thank you so much for joining us here on Health Professional Radio this morning, Rayne. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You as well. You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Rayne Guest, founder and CEO of ArrowClean. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and also at healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen in, download at SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Health Professional Radio.